A warm welcome to my friends and family who have walked with me on the Alzheimer's path and continue being supportive through the process of writing and publishing this book. Thank you. To all of you with whom I am connecting for the first time, I'm thrilled that you've joined us. A warm welcome to each of you. Thank you. I'd like to introduce or reintroduce myself to you. I'm Donna Brown Benton, an educator, a sister, a wife, a mother, a grandmother, and happily a newly published author. I titled my book Illuminating the Alzheimer's Path. It's a memoir of my and my husband Doug's 16 years living with dementia after he was diagnosed with early onset at age 50. Based on our lived experience, I carefully crafted the book's subtitle to reflect our reality and to inspire others to envision the possibility of living in the light while walking in the darkness of dementia. Alzheimer's diagnoses continue to rise as researchers strive for the cures. The sobering truth is that we all either have been or can expect to be personally affected by dementia in our lifetime. With this in mind, I decided to share our story to influence and illuminate the story of all those coming behind us, with the strong belief that we can deal with dementia differently. Now I'd like to share with you the backstory of how the book came to be, what inspired my writing. Symbolically, exactly 9 months before Doug died, I was in a very dark, unfamiliar space. It seemed like the end for both of us. I could not foresee any purpose or meaning for my life moving forward. Upon sharing my current state of mind with my counselor, he quickly facilitated a booster session with a colleague of his, Kitty, who specialized in helping people discover their next life purpose by making meaning of their current life calling and circumstances. What follows is a 4-minute excerpt from this one-time session where Kitty fortuitously planted a seed that was followed by a 9-month gestation period that ultimately gave birth to this book.
I think your purpose to have endured this experience and to keep your optimistic frame of mind, and with this focus on communication, I think it can help so many people know how to deal with this, because that's a hard thing to deal with. Where it's going to be amazing is when you share the story with other people. Is there a lot that have to do with helping the person that takes care of the person with Alzheimer's? I think it might even be harder for the person that takes care of the person than it does for the person who has Alzheimer's. You don't have to write on a how-to book. I think it's about writing your story, and then people get inspired by it. What you ultimately want to do in your lifetime is make an impact somewhere. And the way you make an impact is through communication. Your ability to communicate, especially if you've lived it, is powerful. And people could relate to that. So if you ever choose to do that, it would be a wonderful gift. There's something very beautiful that's happening in your life. And I think for you, it's going to be about just understanding why you've had the life you've had. There's a bigger reason for why you've had your life than just a simple reason of growing up, going to work, and getting old and dying. There's something that ties in with communication, with responsibility, with the kind of challenges that you've had, and then your fantastic disposition and your amazing way of communication and your ability to tell a story. You're a good storyteller, aren't you?
Yeah.
I think you would be. But it's more than just telling a story for you. It's everything is underneath the surface of the story. It's the undertones that gives it the wallop.
Next, Kitty shared that she had also undergone a traumatic life event and wasn't able to find a counselor who understood her trauma and could meet her needs.
So I needed somebody that I felt could understand that, and it took a different kind of person. Well, you're that kind of person. You're not superficial. You're a person that's had to deal with really tough things. So you can talk to somebody and relate to how they feel because you've been there, but you've survived it, and you survive it with a good attitude. That's what your gift is. That's what your strength is, and that's what you share with other people. And it's not that you go around and preach it. It's just that that's what your vibration is. And so then you'll say, well, what would I like to do with that? Maybe you can tell your story, and it's going to help everybody who reads it. Because you have to communicate. You can't not communicate.
To close the session and summarize, Kitty says she wants to share a reading with me about loss, change, and transformation.
This is just a little bit about what your story's about. It's about hope. It's about transformation. It's about facing fear. So that's courage. It shows where we've been hurt and how we can overcome that to become wiser and to have compassion. And it's about strength and courage and inspiration, creativity, spirituality, and communication. What you do with your head. What do you say to yourself that helps you have this wonderful attitude? And what we have control over and what we don't have control over, and how you can communicate on so many different levels. It's going to be a really fascinating story. And it's not just the story, it's what goes underneath the story. It's the passion, it's the emotion, it's the experiences that you've had where you felt isolated or you felt like you're at the bottom of a well and you pull yourself out. So it's a hero's journey in a way. All of us can tap into that. All of us have a little bit of this in ourselves, but you've lived it and you can communicate it. And your whole thing's about communication.
Kitty identifies the author, Anthony Padovano, a theologian. You'll hear me twice whisper, wow. Unbeknownst to her, and unbelievably to me, I had been blessed by Padovano's work since studying his writing in college. What a comforting confirmation. His concept of loss, change, and transformation was my North Star on our Alzheimer's journey.
There's a great deal of difference between loss, change, and transformation. A loss is a step backwards, a change is an opportunity, transformation is a step forward. The common denominator of these three realities is the fact that one must give up something. It is possible for both loss and change to lead to transformation, but it is not possible for transformation to occur unless something is lost and something is changed.
Wow.
And you've lived that. And that's where you are right now. What you have to offer others is an understanding of how to transform.
Loss and change were real, but loss and change didn't get the last word. Our story was being transformed into a story of light amidst the darkness. May the journey also be transformed for each person who will live with dementia and for each of us who will journey with them, care for them, and love them. When asked to name the target audience for my book, my immediate reply is all adults. With our aging population, we all need to be prepared to respond to dementia in our family, our social circles, our local communities, and our areas of influence. I invite you to read my book and, if warranted, write a review or recommend it to others. For me, the goal is not about selling books, but getting it into the hands of all it can inspire. The book is available now for purchase on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Author House Publishing Company's bookstore. I thank each of you for joining us here. I invite you to please stay connected through my social media. I hope I'm privileged to meet and greet you in the community at book signings, speaking engagements, and other published events.